BTS has performed a total of 12 times in the big three American award shows, the Billboard Music Awards, the American Music Awards, and the Grammys. In this video, I'm going to rank all of these performances just for fun and because I love ranking random stuff. So please don't take it too seriously. This video is 100% my personal opinion based on my favorite concepts, fashion, stages, camera work, stage presence, and relevance of the performance. Number 12. Life Goes On at the 2020 AMAs. My least favorite BTS performance of this list is Life Goes On at the 2020 American Music Awards. But this is by no means a bad performance. It's just that compared to the other performances, it's too simple. When it comes to the fashion, I'm not really a big fan of these simple, oversized outfits, but it's not horrible, I guess. Don't get me wrong, they do look beautiful, but because they're BTS, not because of the outfits, in my opinion. The stage is a regular concert stage, so there's nothing there really. The camera work is okay, but it's definitely nothing that makes me excited or think, wow, this is great camera work. Overall, there's nothing much happening. However, I did notice something unique. This performance doesn't really have a concept, but the close-ups kind of make their expressions the concept. Hear me out. BTS's performances in America are fast and fun. Because they have choreographies, the camera is usually focused on their full or upper body. But because this is a song with nothing but vocals, the general public can finally watch their faces without all the movement from a choreography. So yeah, there is no creative concept, but the close-ups makes the audience fall in love with them. It feels more personal. They actually performed this song before a faster song, Dynamite. So when it comes to double performances, I think this is the winning formula. Start with a song that showcases BTS's vocal abilities and emotions and end with the big choreography. But for such a simple performance like this to work, the artist needs to have a strong stage presence, which BTS has, so it works. The only thing about stage presence that I have to point out is the difference in energy between the performances with an audience and the performances with no audience during the pandemic. There is a clear difference because BTS performs the best when there is an audience. Also, during the pandemic, not a lot of people were watching these awards on TV. Viewership got better in 2021, but in 2020, almost no one from the general public was watching these awards. So I wouldn't say it's the most relevant performance out of these 12. Number 11. Dynamite at the 2020 AMAs. So right after BTS performed Life Goes On at the 2020 AMAs, they performed Dynamite. This performance did have a concept, which was leaning more into the disco side of Dynamite. The light, stage, and outfits were very disco. And I know that the outfits were not everyone's favorites, but I like that they were not the same suits we've seen again and again. I like that it's risky. About the stage, I'm usually not a big fan of performances in an empty concert venue because it reminds me that this is pre-recorded. But this is such a beautiful stage that I'm okay with it. The stage is huge, very disco, and it fits the overall concept perfectly. I love how dynamic the lights are, and I loved the fireworks. The camera work is amazing, but I give all the credit to BTS's team because as you'll see later, the AMAs don't have the best camera work. Again, it's unfortunate that not a lot of the general public was watching award shows during the pandemic, but it is what it is. BTS did their best to deliver as much energy as they could to a non-existing live audience. A complaint that I do have is the fake cheers. If you're going to add delayed and non-rhythmic clap sounds, don't add anything, I'm sorry. It's kind of distracting, and because of this, I prefer the fan cam version. Also, I hate that the AMAs gave them limited time. They had to cut Dynamite to fit Life Goes On and Dynamite in one long performance, and that was a little disappointing. Number 10. DNA at the 2017 AMAs. This is not only BTS's first performance at the AMAs, this is BTS's American TV debut, so it was a big deal for them, for the fans, and even for South Korea. So this is one of BTS's most important performances ever. However, because this was their first time performing in America, the award show didn't give them the opportunity to have a unique stage. It seems like they just told them, here's the stage, perform. So there's no award show level concept. This is just a live performance. There's also horrible audio. And like I said before, this is an AMA thing. This performance has probably the worst sound mixing in a live performance I've ever heard. American award shows simply didn't know what to do with a group with multiple singers. They didn't turn on their mics on time. The backtrack was extremely loud, and their mic's volume was extremely low. One less point is not enough to describe how bad the audio was. So -2 points. But not everything is bad. This is still a strong performance. I like the outfits, the looks fit the song, and I believe they had the perfect looks for an American TV debut. The extreme confidence and coolness that they usually have was not as present, but the stage presence and energy were still there. The nervousness they can have behind the scenes cannot ruin the hours of rehearsals, dedication, and talent. And surprisingly, the camera work was not terrible. It was not amazing either, but for their first time recording a BTS choreography, it was acceptable. There were too many shots of people's reactions, but this is expected in these shows. I've gotten used to it at this point. But without a doubt, the most shocking positive factor is everything related to the audience. ARMYs were there to support BTS at a time when they were basically unknown in the American music industry. So the fan chants and the screams surprised the general public. If you watch fan cams, you can even notice how the non-fans started filming the fans because of how surprised they were. Another positive thing is that at least from the fan cam's point of view, you can notice how difficult the DNA choreography is. So at least people present at the show were able to appreciate the performance fully. Number 9. Dynamite at the 2020 bbmas. King Kong, kick the drum, running on like a rolling stone. This is such an amazing concept for a performance that I'm pissed off that it couldn't have an audience because of the pandemic. It really could have been a 10 out of 10. I'm just glad a similar live band concept was able to happen in the PTD tour. I like the outfits a lot, they fit the concept, and I like that they are not all the same, but they all go together. They are not a 10 out of 10 compared to the other ones I've seen, but they do look good. The stage is actually an airport, and I love it. There were hints everywhere related to the cancelled Map of the Soul tour and their iconic airport moments. So this almost felt like a callback to the common practice of wishing BTS a safe flight during non-pandemic times. The sound quality is good because it's BTS's team, so it's understandable. The camera work is also okay. It's fine for what it is. A performance with a live band that it's not really live. I mean that they are not there with BTS physically, and we can tell. I really hate that such an amazing concept couldn't fully live up to its potential because of the pandemic. I don't know what I would have done to incorporate the band and BTS together more, but the difference in settings was definitely visible. Again, during the pandemic, the ones watching this specific performance were almost exclusively ARMYs, which is a shame because I think this concept would have worked perfectly with the general public. So the lack of audience was definitely unfortunate. And it was also frustrating because BTS responds to the audience energy with more energy. So during the time when BTS performed Dynamite non-stop for months, we can tell that there is something missing. Don't get me wrong, they are professional, and I don't think anyone would describe this performance as anything but good. Compared to the other performances that night, I still consider this one to be the best. But the audience's reaction is what makes BTS have fun on stage, and that is the only thing this performance was missing for me. Number 8. Old Town Road at the 2020 Grammys. The thing about this performance is that it has a really cool concept, but BTS is only one part of it. Still, I think American award shows should have more collaborative stages like this. It's fun, and I would love for BTS to participate in another one of these aside from their own solo performances. But despite BTS not having their own performance, this moment was important because it was the introduction of BTS's performance skills to the Grammys. Yes, they were only kind of a small part of the full performance, but at least they are on the stage performing for the first time. They were not going to miss this opportunity, so they performed with so much energy and enthusiasm. The looks from this performance are iconic. I think every ARMY can recognize which outfit belongs to each member because of how recognizable they are. I have to give the overall stage a 10 out of 10 because there are 5 settings and they are all so well done. BTS's stage is cool as well. They represented the city. The camera work was simple and safe. BTS's stage was small and there wasn't a lot happening, so the camera work is not a highlight of the performance. The audio was also okay, not bad at all. But I can't really give this performance a higher placement in this list because at the end of the day, the Grammys didn't allow BTS to shine and show their full potential for years. And this is a subtle reminder of that. Also, a thing I hate about the Grammys is that the audience is full of boring people. It looks like no one is having fun except maybe some people on stage. So only the performers uplifted the energy. Especially when BTS appeared, people started cheering and standing up because the guys seemed so full of energy. We all know that BTS are experts at winning people over, no matter the situation. Number 7. My Universe at the 2021 AMAs. I love this song so much, but there was little organization because they were going more with the anchor hanging out with fans vibe, and this is not my favorite for an award show performance. However, it seemed like they had fun and they were full of energy, and sometimes that is what gets the audience's attention. I love the fireworks and I find it kind of funny that it scared the celebrities. I kind of see it as a funny representation of the response to BTS's explosive energy on stage. I also love the incorporation of the band in those platforms, and I hope BTS has a live band in a stage like this in their future performances at American award shows. And I love the outfits so much. I need BTS to perform with this style of outfits again. This is probably my favorite look in an American award show ever. I don't really know what kind of camera work I expected with a less planned, more spontaneous performance like this one, but I guess it wasn't bad. The lesson about not showing the audience too much was learned. We saw the audience a more appropriate amount of times. Now, the thing about the 2021 AMAs that makes this performance important is that it had a live audience after all the pandemic performances. It was a moment that they were waiting for so long. This day is also important because they won Artist of the Year and people started watching award shows again, and artists were attending award shows again. So it was important in many levels. However, I still rank solo performances higher than collaborative performances because I prefer when the attention is fully on BTS. Number 6. Fake Love at the 2018 bbmas. This performance has really no concept at all. However, you can't go wrong with Fake Love. The song and the choreography are strong enough to sustain a performance on their own. So I cannot realistically give this concept a 1 out of 10, but I also cannot give it a 10 out of 10. They just performed on the stage with a background screen of a flower. This was a very lazy move from the bbmas. Another lazy thing, if you're going to film the audience, film people having cool, exciting reactions. Show more people like this guy singing his heart out. And as expected from 2018, the sound sucks. America didn't know how to properly record audio of a group of artists who sing and dance. The artists who dance in America are usually soloists, so when a group like BTS performs, the sound people are supposed to turn down the volume of the other members, but they really couldn't keep up with it. All of these negative aspects are really nothing compared to the positive aspects. When it comes to the outfits, this is one of my favorite BTS eras. J-Hope's outfit and hair were definitely my favorites, but I also love Suga's choker and RM's harness look. Overall, this performance was very important. Their first performances at these big award shows started in 2017, so this 2018 comeback showed that BTS was not going anywhere. They were starting to prove that they were not a Gangnam Style one-type performance type of artist. They also started to gain a lot more confidence. They knew what they were doing and the stage presence was perfection. And a big reason for this is the fan chants. This performance has one of the best audience participations in a BTS performance. And probably this is the best audience reaction at an American award show, period. But it's not only about the fans, it's also about the general public's reaction. In fan cams, you can hear the non-fans reacting to the fan chants. And even crazier, we could see and hear the general public becoming fans in real time. Number 5. Dynamite at the 2021 Grammys. I love the concept of this performance. BTS recreated the Grammys stage and red carpet from South Korea because of the pandemic, and then they performed on top of a building. This is one of the best stage designs from the pandemic era, which are already very high level, but I give all the credit to BTS's team, not these award shows. The same with the camera work. It was very good and I give all the credit to BTS's team. About the outfits, I like the combination of colors, but at this point, I was so done with the Dynamite suits. Dynamite is a fun song, and I prefer when they had more fun outfits. This is BTS's first Grammy solo performance, so it was very significant. It was unfortunate that I couldn't perform it in the actual event and instead had to send a recording. It was also unfortunate this was during the pandemic, so not a lot of the general public was paying attention. But 82 million views after, who cares about them really? Another thing that I have to say is that although BTS always stayed professional and did strong performances during the pandemic, they always shine with a live audience. And that audience energy was definitely missing. Number 4. Butter at the 2021 bbmas. So my favorite performances are definitely from Korean award shows, but I will recommend these 4 performances to any new fan. Starting with Butter at the 2021 bbmas. The concept of this performance is amazing. This was not a live performance. This was a story. BTS first gets ready in their dressing room. Then they go backstage, and by this I mean they literally perform behind the stage. Then they get to the red carpet. Then they walk the red carpet. And finally, they get to the stage. But all of this is recreated in South Korea. They are not actually at the event. Again, because of the pandemic. This is one of my favorite concepts they came up with during this time. It's fun, it's dynamic, and it feels like it never stops. I can even begin to imagine how much money and how many people they needed to make these stages possible. These settings are insane. Of course, because they have their own camera people, they had many opportunities to get the best takes. And we can tell, this is better than most music videos out there. And this is in great part because of BTS's stage presence. Although there was no actual audience, I don't know what it is about this performance that BTS seemed to have more energy. Out of all the pandemic performances, I believe this one has the most energy. Also, the outfits for the Butter era are simple but fun. This one is mostly black suits with accents of gold because butter, of course, and I really liked it. Again, during the pandemic, not a lot of people watched these awards, but the viewership and most importantly, the reception was bigger than it was with the 2020 bbmas. Unlike the 2020 bbmas, BTS's label uploaded the full recording of this performance as we saw it on TV. So 84 million views is definitely not nothing. Overall, this is the best pre-recorded performance during the pandemic. Number 3. Boy With Love at the 2019 bbmas. The concept of this performance is the same as in the music video, so it's good, but I believe it could have been a little bigger. I've seen the bbmas go all out with other artists, so why not BTS? However, the stage is amazing. It's a rotating stage with 3 different settings from the music video. I like that this allowed Halsey to appear and disappear and appear again, rather than stay there the entire performance. Also, the ending stage is one of my favorites from this list. I would have loved the pink and pastel color outfits from M Countdown, but this is also very nice. I like that Halsey also matched them, and overall, this is one of my favorite BTS looks. About camera work. It only took them 2 years, but the bbmas are finally learning how to properly film choreographies. The camera work is dynamic and fun. There's also an okay amount of the audience's reaction, so they did respond to criticism. The audio is also very good. Compared to the 2018 bbmas, this is a huge improvement. However, I think this time sounds better because they are using hand mics instead of the other ones. Halsey's live singing and audio mic levels were okay, but I don't think she's used to singing live while dancing a kind of intense choreography. I know she dances, but she did say that this is not her style. Still, I like that she was truly part of the performance in an organized way. At this point, BTS is way more relaxed in American award shows. They've already attended a few, so they simply perform like they usually perform, but with a lot of extra confidence and energy. This is the stage presence I know BTS for. And in 2019, BTS was already an established act in the Western music industry. They were not considered a fluke in the American industry anymore, and the success of this performance was expected. More than introduce them to the industry, this solidified BTS's popularity. But as always, the most important thing is the reaction. The fansians were strong. Overall, the audience's energy is extreme, as always. The fans were screaming and singing, and the general public was shocked once again. Number 2. Butter at the 2021 AMAs. The concept is simple, but the level of stage presence makes up for it. Confidence, star power, and enthusiasm to perform with a live audience again are strong on this performance. I don't know exactly what is going on in their minds, but I kind of know what makes BTS's performances after 2019 more relaxed. It's like they finally understand how the American award show industry works, and they are finally well-established artists. About the stage, I like the giant heart of butter from the beginning, and I like that everything changed from yellow to purple in the end. So it's not the best stage ever, but it's still fun. The sound mixing was finally good. It only took them 5 years. The camera work was good as well, and the number of audience's reactions were fine. I also think that the presence of 2 stages made the camera work more dynamic. BTS's performances look good from multiple angles, even from the back. So the 2 stages were a plus, in my opinion. When it comes to the outfits, I'm not a big fan of yellow, but I understand why they had to wear yellow. So considering that, the outfits seem very nice, especially if you pay attention to each of them individually. My favorite one is Jimin's. Overall, like I said with their My Universe performance, which happened the same day, this is a very important performance in their careers. It was not only their comeback to a stage with an actual live audience, but it was also their big day. People started watching award shows again, artists started attending award shows again, and BTS won Artist of the Year. So this was a moment in BTS's history. Number 1. Butter at the 2022 Grammys. Out of all these performances, this spy concept is my favorite. It's such a creative idea and it's well executed. You can't really go wrong with all black suits. Yes, it may be simple, but so many things were already happening on stage, so this style was appropriate. About the stage design, I think that the organizers allowed BTS to show their history in the background screen. It made it really special for ARMYs. I'm also grateful that they created Jin his own separate stage, because he couldn't join the beginning of the choreography because of his his injured hand. Also, the lights and laser effects during the dance break were so cool. Also, here's a personal theory. I think BTS demanded for their performance to be filmed properly. This is definitely one of the best recorded BTS performances in an American award show. The audience at the Grammys is usually very boring, but this time ARMYs were infiltrated and that made the performance 1,000 times better. I was also nervous because of Jin's injury, but he was still part of the performance and the dance in the end, and that effort deserves recognition. Also, I always get emotional when I watch this performance. Knowing everything that happened behind the scenes with Jin's injury, the COVID tests, the early flights, not being able to rehearse together, and everything they had to go through to make this performance possible makes me want to cry. But I guess that aspect is only visible for ARMYs who know the full story. Overall, this is the BTS American Award Show performance. I believe it's BTS's most important performance of their careers in America. But we'll see what Chapter 2 brings us very soon. As an extra thing, I wanted to give my overall opinion on these award shows and rank them based on only BTS performances. I wish the Grammys were less cowards and could have let BTS perform earlier. Fake Love at the Grammys would have been legendary, but it's their loss. It seems like BTS prefers the bbmas, but the AMAs gives them more opportunities. This is usually a double performance. However, for some reason, BTS goes all out in their bbmas performances, more than in their AMAs performances. It looks like the Grammys in general have more preparation with their camera work and the sound mixing. But again, the audience at the Grammys is very boring. At the bbmas and the AMAs, people are going to have fun. So taking all of this into consideration, my ranking is like this. In last place is the AMAs. The audience does have fun and the show gives BTS more opportunities to perform, but they lack preparation, camera work, sound quality, and they don't really help BTS with creative stages. In second place is the Grammys. The Grammys have without a doubt the best sound quality, camera work, and stage design, but they are boring, obtuse, and it took them a million years to give BTS a proper performance. Still, when they had to give them a performance, they gave them the time and the resources they would give to any other Western artist. And in first place is the bbmas. I think the bbmas are a good middle ground. BTS's first performance there had good sound and camera work, but the best thing is that these were even better for their next performance. Also, they gave BTS their first opportunity to attend an award show, and then perform the next year, and then perform a Grammy-level stage the next year. I also think this is the reason why BTS seems to care more about their bbmas performances than their AMAs performances. The bbmas helps BTS make their big, creative ideas come to reality, while the AMAs and the Grammys seem more hesitant. So BTS's ideas become possible, they are able to relax more, they have more confidence on stage, and the audience is encouraged to enjoy, sing, scream, and celebrate with BTS. That is everything. Thank you for watching, and let me know in the comments which of these are your favorite BTS award show performances.